welcome, Michele.
Hello.
It's great to be here, everyone, and thank you to Bryan Innovators for the opportunity to kind of have this conversation. I'm Bryan McGuirk, just introduced us, CRO of Stingray. For those of you who don't know us, we are the folks in the store. We run a retail media network for in-store audio in 21,000 stores here in the US. So we're in the store a lot. First, Michele, why don't you just share a bit of your career journey and kind of how it led you to Mastercard?
Yeah, I mean, I've been at Mastercard. In December will be 5 years. It went by so fast. But before joining Mastercard, I was a long-time retail corporate person, working at Macy's before I came here, and then before Macy's, I worked at Saks Fifth Avenue. I've always been in these roles that really look to understand business opportunities to build with technology. And so that was able to transcend into this role that I have, which is part of marketing at Mastercard. I'm part of the global brand strategy and innovation team.
Well, I have a quick story and a little confession. I was at Programmatic I/O yesterday, and there's 1,000 people there. One of the speakers actually stopped everything, and they said, "What's missing in our business?" And he said, "I've been in display and programmatic for 20 years, and we've always got the right person and the right message, but one thing's always been missing, and it's the when and the context of how we're doing this." And I thought, wow, you really get what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So we're excited to introduce this topic. So my first question is kind of, how did MasterCard get into social listening? And I wanted to give you a chance to kind of roll a video for the folks here to kind of give you a little bit of background on what the platform is and a little on how it works.
Yeah, it does a good job at storytelling, and then we can dig in. I'm so proud to be in a company that is always being innovative and really thinking about, what are the things that are important. And this concept of the digital engine was around before I joined. And because it comes from a place of, as marketers, we struggle with getting through the noise. Like, our consumers are exposed to thousands of messages, and they only maybe remembering 1 to 2. There's so much noise, it's a disruption to them. And we don't want to disrupt. We want to be what they're interested in. We want them to really take an action on an offer or an experience that we're sending to them. So what can we do different? And that's where the idea of the digital engine was born. It's a different way, a different approach to market that's really harnessing things that were there, right? When we think of social listening, a lot of it is like, what's happening with our brand? What are people saying? And that's kind of where you spend your time versus it's a community, it's a conversation. So if we understand conversations and its relation to something we have to offer and to say, we can use that as a signal to then launch our campaigns. So right time, right message, with relevance and context. And what we see when we do that is better performance and efficiencies gained. Because these algorithms are looking at everything that's going through. And so if people are more engaged and you're getting more relevance, you're getting more exposure. And by getting more exposure, it's going to cost you less. And with budgets not going up and going down, we want our marketing dollars to really work for us. But most importantly, we want people to take advantage of the things that we have for them. But if they're ignoring it because they're just tired of all the messages that they see and you're just kind of talking at them instead of with them, then you're not going to get where you're looking for. You might get a lot of impressions, but you may not get people to take the action you want them to. And so what the digital engine does is it listens for those moments, those trends, we call them micro trends, that tell us what is the time to take that action and activate the campaign on digital channels. So all within the application, you can understand the signals, the conversation, its relevance, and insights around what people are saying, hashtags, phrases, and different things that can go into how you talk to them, right? How does your copy then need to adjust and align? And having that right time to come out with the message is really what makes this tool really unique.
That's amazing. I mean, this is really, truly something that's groundbreaking, and just based on the feedback I got from the industry yesterday, it's truly needed. One thing Mastercard's known for are your priceless moments. I'm curious, how do you use social listening to really amplify the priceless moments in travel and culinary?
Thanks for that, because I was going to bring it up. If you guys are Mastercard users, our priceless experiences are really great. They're curated, they are market specific of different experiences that you can have, whether you're traveling or whether locally. And we have a lot of them. So as a marketer, how would you decide what you want to promote, right? If your budgets are limited and you don't know what to focus in on. So our digital engine is integrated with it. We not only are using AI, we use automation and other key components and technology to make this product. We are connected with our priceless experiences. And so we will be listening for relevant conversations for some of these experiences to show to our consumers. So let's just say we have something for golf, and there is a spike in conversation around golf in New York, Connecticut, and because it's telling us, it not only tells us there's a spike, it tells us where the spike is, how they're talking about it, if it's related to a specific golfer, and we could use those insights to say, okay, let's now promote these golf experiences that we have to these customers with this insight that we just learned.
Wow. Okay. Well, I love golf, and you're certainly very involved with that. So that's an interesting way to use it.
Yeah.
Just how do you use social listening to really understand, consumer sentiment around financial services? And this is an important topic for many of the brands, specific to kind of trust and loyalty, because those are vectors that, I'm on a panel later with Bayer Aspirin and Bayer Healthcare. It's not alone for MasterCard in that area.
Yeah, I think that's the benefit too of social listening, is understanding the intelligence using sentiment, so you can wrap around sentiment and look at the words from are they talking about it from a negative perspective? Are they talking about it from a positive perspective? There is AI intelligence that goes into that. And some of these topics, as you can imagine, when you start getting into business topics, it can vary. And in social, people aren't just talking about personal things, they are talking about business topics, because we're all out there, right? And sometimes our conversation can lend itself to work topics. So AI, for instance, can be something that people are talking about. Are they interested in it? Do they think it's going to harm their business? Do they think it's something that's going to be positive for their business? And just understanding the context of that and how you can help them is where social intelligence comes in. Another big thing, for us, we're a brand about trust, creating trust, helping you with your trust, around cybersecurity. So there's a way to listen and understand if people need to know about solutions that can help them protect their business.
Interesting and true, sadly. With I noticed the mention of Turkey in the video, and you're an international company.
Yes.
How do you use this platform to create kind of regionally relevant campaigns?
We're using it in 48 markets.
Wow.
Yeah. We are a global company, and so proud of that. Global in that we understand local relevance. And so if we're listening in other countries, we're listening in that language. We're listening to understand how it's trending in the context of that with our local teams, so then they can take an action. The Turkish tourism, cross-border travel is a huge thing. We understand through our own data and behaviors what are top corridors for Turkey and other areas, so maybe listen in those areas and we understand when it's a signal to promote travel to Turkey. So we really are harnessing insights and really leveraging that. And the insights is where we start. It's the trigger, it's the signal. We can understand what they're saying, apply it to our marketing copy and how we're going to go out to it. But then, right with an application, we are able to launch our campaign. So within minutes, It can be 30 minutes, you're up and out with your campaign.
Well, following the leadership from our MC, I wanted just to open it up for a moment just to see if there's a number of omnichannel marketers out here. Any questions from the audience specifically on how, specific to Michele? Any questions from the audience? Go ahead. Yeah. Do we have any mics in the...
Okay, well, I wanted to ask, how are you guys connecting all this? Is it your proprietary to your Mastercard? Is it your, maybe you can say?
No, it's a good question.
Let me repeat the question. Just how do you connect to all of this? Is it through a proprietary platform in Mastercard specifically?
It's a great question, and I'll answer it without giving out the secret sauce. I'll just make it relevant. I mean, a lot of ways that you can build applications is through APIs, right? It's through having really good sources of information. So if we're saying we're using social intelligence, we're partnering with one of the best who is, taking privacy and everything else into consideration for how we can leverage the data in the right way, right? As one piece, then we're doing activation. So that's another layer of, APIs and connecting to the platforms. And so it's a compilation. One of the things I remember when I joined Mastercard was they had courses for us to take, and one of them was about technology and Uber. And I was like, oh, Uber's an app, and I just think it's one thing. And one of the things I learned was Uber was a compilation of all of these different APIs, but to us, it looks like one thing. And that's how I would think, that's how I would say the digital engine is.
Yes, front row.
Yeah. You mentioned getting a campaign on the side of 30 minutes. How do you plan for those ad moments so that you can take advantage of them? Like how much education goes in on the front end and planning so that your folks can take advantage of the 48 or so markets when these moments come up?
So that was a kind of real-time campaign timing question as well.
Good question. The priceless one is an easy answer. We're using AI and automation. We can pull in our assets we have tied to those priceless campaigns, so think images, and we use some of the AI to kind of generate some copy that they can tweak on the fly. So within our application, we also have an area for content, like a content repository, so you can jump right into activation. If it's not, it's also very easy to upload content and have it in your content repository ready. So think your images, your videos, and your copies ready to go when you get that signal to launch the campaign. So it's all in one place.
That's great. I'll come back to you, the audience, in just a moment. I have a couple more questions. How does Mastercard measure the effectiveness of all this? In particular, ROI to clients. How do you communicate these back to your advertisers?
Yes, so we are very specific. Like when we're doing measurement, because it is about performance, if we're saying it's going to drive better performance, which we believe, we are measuring performance and the effectiveness. So we're looking at what is your main media objective and how did it perform compared to your forecast? How did it perform compared to your benchmark? And then by looking at that and comparing the value of that, especially for the cost metrics, we can tell you what additional value was gained by leveraging this framework, because the framework is different. As marketers, we have plans. Our plans say we're going to launch November 1st to December 15th. This is different. This is saying don't launch that for all of that time. This is saying during that duration, there are moments. You should launch your campaign when it's relevant, so you're kind of riding the wave of when something is important to your consumer, when it's on their mind. And when you come to them at that time, that is when you're going to get the behavior you want from them. So whether that's the click to the site, the taking the action, or just the engagement, right? That is the importance of using the signals.
And this platform today is being used for Mastercard and its partners.
Yes.
Mastercard has other businesses that are outreaching. Would this ever go beyond your walls?
It is something we're considering because initially it is meant to help us as marketers, but also our partners, and we have a lot of great partners. But we're thinking about it. We do feel like it's impactful, and it can be impactful for all marketers. So where else could we assist with our tool is something we're considering.
And in what ways could retail audio advertisers collaborate with payment companies like Mastercard to create seamless, impactful shopping experiences?
That's a hard question.
Well, I've got a couple of hard ones. What do you think?
If I put my retail hat on, when I worked at Macy's, I could see a tool like this being very useful for them to really kind of help them shift some of their legacy perspective of this kind of always on promotion and really showing up in a way so that they're getting more out of their consumers. And then there's other things. I'm proud of this product, but then we have other products in our company that is, being used for like personalization and things like that. So I think Mastercard does look to find and crosses over between different business categories with different tools when it makes sense.
Before I wind it up, I'll open it up again. Any other questions from the audience? Okay. Well, think about it. I will. I'm just interested in where this goes from here. You've now got it active. You're using it with campaigns around the world. I mean, what is the next step, and how does this look a few years from now?
Yeah. So when we started, we were using traditional AI. It's core in some of the processes and things that we're doing. Automation. I think Gen AI, which is in development, is our next thing. So it's also about making it easier for marketers. So when you think about how Gen AI can help, it can help with making sure your brand tone is consistent, right? And that Gen AI also understands when you're going to these campaigns, how and what length and what the kind of language should be. So incorporating that into this process will also be a great add for the marketers and, also shorten your time to market.
Well, one more chance. Going. Anybody? All right. Well, I just want to thank you, Michele, and thank everyone for being here. This is a great session with some super questions from the audience. So, thanks.
Thank you.